In this video, we're going to look at how to create a panoramic photograph. That being a single photograph made up of many photographs that were taken especially for it. So first of all, I have to import these 6 photographs taken at Doombrishta back in 2014. So they're on the desktop in a folder called Pano folder, and I'm going to add them to Lightroom. So I just need to press import because adding means they're going to go back to where they were originally on the desktop. Okay, so I now have the 6 photographs, and as you can see, there's Doombrishta. The lighting is fairly equal all the way around, but when we get down to these ones here, this one here probably has the most contrast because it has the darkest areas, and also because of the direction of the sun, this is also probably the brightest part of the sky. So therefore we have the biggest contrast in this one. So this is the one I'm choosing to process. So I start off by going into the develop mode, and let's go through the whole process here. So we're going to use I should be able to get some other ones. Why aren't they coming up? Browse, here we go. So we're going to go for a Velvia Vivid, which has increased the contrast even more. We can see that because of all this blue. I'm just going to switch these 2 things off up here, just because we covered this on the class that we did. If you tick these 2 boxes here on the histogram, then if there's anything that's gone off the histogram, that means that it's gone black, it will show up as blue here. And if I increase the exposure here until this one also changes white and we see red, that means it's gone too bright. And it's a help. You don't need to have it switched on, but it's just a help in terms of it's a visual aid to you, if you like. So for this picture, I'm going to leave the white balance as it is, and I'm going to reduce the highlights like we normally do, and I'm going to increase the shadows quite a bit because we know that we've got a lot of blacks there, so we'll increase the shadows, and then we'll do what we usually do with the white. So we alt click and drag until we see a white, and it's taking its time coming. There it is, but we don't actually want to see it, so we go back. Okay, so that's as good as we're going to get. And similarly with the blacks, we already have a black. If I click on here, we can see we have one. I'm just going to increase them a little bit because we would expect to see some dark shadows down there. Then we'll give it some texture and maybe a little bit of clarity and a little bit of dehaze and a little bit of vibrance just to give it a bit of color. Okay, so there we've processed our picture more or less. Something I am going to do is I'm going to take the sharpening down, but we've processed the picture. So now what we need to do is we need to process all the other pictures in exactly the same way. What's really important when you're doing panoramic pictures is that you take your pictures in manual mode so that each picture has the exact same exposure, the exact same ISO, and even the focusing should be fixed. So you would, at the beginning, on your first picture, you will focus the camera and then switch the autofocus off and keep that focus the same for all of your pictures. You would also, of course, keep the same focal length on the lens. That means you're not going to zoom the camera at all between all of these pictures. So we have 6 pictures. We have processed this one. So to process the others, we simply press the Shift key and press the last picture. So we've done this one, so we want to go to the other end, press the Shift key, left click, and all of the pictures are selected. And when we do that, the word sync appears here, where it used to say previous, now it says sync, and that simply means synchronize. So if I click synchronize, these are all the things that we could have done to that picture. So all the things that are included down here are now included here. And what this is saying is, if I press synchronize, everything that was done to the last picture is now going to be done to all of the pictures. So we've now processed all of the pictures with exactly the same process. So the next thing we do now is keep them all selected and go up to the word photo and down to photo merge. And the photo merge we want to do is a panorama. So click on panorama. And mine is picking perspective, which I think is the correct one to pick, and auto crop. And I'm going to leave it at that, and that'll take a few minutes for it to process. Okay, so it's going to give us, that's roughly what it's going to look like. That's pretty good. So let's just say merge. And now this could take several minutes to happen, although it's happening relatively quickly. So, and here it is now, it's finished. So this is what if we go to the crop tool, just out of curiosity, you should be able to see this is what actually happens. Okay, when you do a panoramic picture, this is the kind of thing that happens. And because we had the auto crop ticked, it's automatically cropped it for us. Okay, so it's important to know that. And this is why when we take the photographs, we should take them with the camera in portrait mode, because inevitably you are going to lose some of the top of the photograph and some of the bottom of the photograph. So if you do it in view mode, you wouldn't need so many pictures. You could do this in 2 or 3 pictures, but inevitably you would have to make it even narrower, because you're always going to lose something from the top and something from the bottom. So just out of curiosity, if we go back and look at this picture in Lightroom, in the library rather, we can see that it now measures 12,600 pixels by 4,896 pixels. This was taken on a Fuji X-T10, which is like a little, almost a pocket camera. And the full size frame is about 5,000 by 3,500. So both of these now are considerably longer. The length is 2.5 times longer. And so in terms of actually printing this as a photograph, you know, it's going to print very, very big. To see how big it'll print, we'd have to put it into Photoshop. Now the photograph is now opening in Photoshop. It's quite slow because it is a large picture. It's a large file. So you could become stuck, you know, depending on how good your computer is. You might find this takes quite a while. So there it is. And now if we just look at the image size, if I were printing this at 240 pixels per inch, which is what I print pictures at, this photograph can be printed without doing any enlarging or any, you know, messing about. It can be printed to 133 centimeters long. That's 4 foot long in old money, okay, by 51 centimeters, 52 centimeters really deep. So that's going to be a very big print. If we just do it in inches, just for those of us who are challenged in that way, it's 52 inches by 20 and a half. It's pretty big.